every 2 seconds. It's raining sideways.
Yeah.
Last night was some of the worst wind that I've seen in a long time.
I've seen rain like what we've had, like with the flooded streets.
Right.
But that wind was, I don't ever remember getting an alert for wind like that.
And there's no dust. We haven't had a dust storm.
The pop-up alert for wind last night was freaky.
It's just been.
Those here in Phoenix probably got it, and you know, I want to
wind, rain.
I'll pull it up off the Obama phone and read it.
An inch and a half last night.
Yeah,
They've got pounded this year.
And on the way in, the lightning wasn't just the sky lit up here and there. It was, you could see the folds coming down.
Yep.
When I got off the freeway and turned right here down by the little Walgreens area and started heading this way, it was pitch black in some areas, and you could see what looked like it hit the mountain right across the way. I mean, it was just straight down, like God's like, you, I'm getting you.
My mom told me that she was, her dogs got scared, and she looked over towards, she has a little doggy door, and she said when she looked at the doggy door, she heard a crack of lightning, and she could see the lightning through the doggy door.
Yeah.
So you know that's on the ground. Scared her
You know what?
to death.
I'm gonna give you some credit here, Becky Lynn. You nailed it a few months ago, and I don't know if you said it jokingly or not. Well, when the Suns were in the run for the NBA title, it was must see. Must see. Everybody was watching it. And what you said was, well, now we're just going to have to watch the monsoon. And I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. The monsoon is must see.
Yes.
People are staying up if they get an alert on their phone, and they go to Twitter or Facebook or whatever, and they say, oh, we're going to get something. I can stay up a little bit later. I can stay up a half hour later. Or it wakes you up because of all that noise, and then you get up and you actually want to watch it. You really did nail that. I don't know if you were joking when you said that, but...
Well, it was the only other thing.
There's
You know,
nothing
once
else.
the Suns were done, it was like, now what are we going to pay
It's not like we're
attention
going to watch
to?
the Diamondbacks.
Well, we should have paid attention. I was there.
One game.
I was there.
No hitter.
Settle down. Settle down there with your bobblehead getting no hitter.
Yeah.
I went to a game, they got me a bobblehead, and then I got a no hitter.
I got to say no hitter.
I was just, though, on the way in, though, you could see just the high-profile trucks. Normally at night, it's myself and them on the road and a few other people. And it's the same 3 or 4 cars. I see them almost every day. And there was no high-profile vehicles last night anywhere to be found.
No,
That's how
people were
nasty it was.
Shelter.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's so crazy the last few weeks. The I-17...
Oh, wow. Look at this car that's about ready to drive in front of me. Look at this.
Always
Look at this.
underwater.
Mm-hmm.
It always has been, but now they're really looking at it saying, we may have to do something here, because it seems almost every couple days somebody's getting stuck in that. There was some guy on top of his car. There's a guy on top of his car at the I-17.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's funny, my producer who does my national show, he's thinking about moving out here, and he said, I'm watching something today out there, Chad, and there's a guy on top of his car. What is that about? Because every time I turn around, it's a flood, you have no water, or there is 3,000 degree heat with fires.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's kind of what we're about right now. That's the Gulf.
Right. One guy from Mesa.
When the sun rose, he saw this. Multiple trees down in his patio. And in the front, a toppled tree feet from his window.
I'm worried it'll either fall down or fall through, go through the building. Scary because, well, my first monsoon out here.
That was his first monsoon. Welcome to Arizona. We haven't seen it like this in a long time. I remember doing, I was doing a 9 to midnight show here at KTAR many years ago. And there was just a massive...
Yeah, lately they've been calling the monsoon the non-soon because it just hasn't happened for the last couple of years.
One tree is down. There's another. Every single block heading to my place, tree down, tree down, tree down, tree down. And I'm like, oh my gosh. God, honest to God, there are like a dozen trees down. Get to my house, look around I'm like, all right, I'm good. I sit down. The front yard was fine. I sit down, watched, put the TV on. It's like, it's like 1 a.m. And I peer to the right of me where the window is. And that's the backyard. I hadn't checked the backyard, and there was a window that you just always look through. You could see the whole backyard, but it looked like there was a bush there. That was the tree. That was the tree. A tree had fallen, and all the leaves and all the branches were pushed right against the window. And I'm like, I know there's not a bush there. That's got to be the tree, and it was down. So, I mean, I feel for everybody that's going through this today because it's pretty crazy. All right.
Yeah, Gatos doesn't know how
We'll
lucky he is
check
that thing
on
didn't
the
smash
monsoon,
through his window.
And we may get some action a little bit later today.
I'll say
Coming up next.
2 years ago, there was a storm that went through, maybe 3 years ago.
It's a Gatos and Chad show. Time for Becky Lynn.
Oh, that's going to be a hot story.
KTAR News Flash.
There were some storms that went through my neighborhood, Lower Arcadia near Pierce Park, that removed several of the trees for Pierce Park. When I moved to that neighborhood, Pierce Park had a lot of really nice mature trees, and the public pool there, the Pierce Park pool, a good half of that was just wonderful place to go. I used to bring Lily there all the time, and it was this ginormous
Governor Doug Ducey announcing an additional $163 million to any school which remains open during the
there was a ginormous
schools that do not comply with state law, like implementing masks,
tree that shaded like half of the wading pool, like the toddler pool, and then the side of it. So as a parent, I could just kind of sit there and watch her swim in the shade, and yeah, that came down in a storm. The building that I am, amazingly, we haven't lost any of our trees. So there's nice mature trees in my building, but there's another building down the street that is very similar to the one I live in, and it no longer has any trees in front of it. They've all come down from these storms. So, yeah. That's the thing. It takes out trees.
For Phoenix Children's.
And granted, we got nothing on, Florida hurricanes or Oklahoma tornadoes, but and sometimes these monsoon storms, they're no joke.
Saying, if you don't listen to the king, we're not going to give you any money. I think today, Ducey proved again, pro-COVID, anti-mask. So let's see what he's up to. The governor announced Tuesday, state would provide some funding to districts and charters that follow Arizona law. He also wants them to remain open in person for instruction. Well, Governor, we all want schools to stay open in person. We don't want, schools going back to virtual learning. But you really haven't given us much of a good start. You don't want masks in school. You're trying to legally go after, by making a law and squeezing it in the budget. Any school now that puts a mask mandate in, you're not going to give that money to? Yeah, it's disgusting. And he's going to lose this battle because teachers are going to start leaving in droves. Then parents are going to be angry. Then our education system is going to get worse than it already is. I've said it in 2020. I didn't think I'd say it in 2021, but it's so clear what this guy is all about. He wants herd immunity via uncontrolled infection. I mean, he just wants everybody to get sick. And that's how we get to herd immunity. He's going to let everybody get sick. And he's not doing anything to prevent it. Let me give you a poll that just got released, Chad. 66% of Americans oppose state laws that prohibit local officials from creating mask requirements.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, 33%. That's it. Only 33% support what Ducey is doing. 77% oppose efforts to withhold funding from school districts and local governments that implement mask mandates. So what the governor is trying to say is, if you try and keep kids safe, I'm cutting you off.
Well, his whole thing is what? Let's keep everything open. Let's act as if this thing is not really the pain in the butt that it could be. And I think it's sad that we can't have a conversation about this in a way that we should, where we can come back and say, look, guys, you guys need to do what you guys need to do to keep everybody safe, but I'm going to implore you, keep everything open for as long as you can, and let's make sure, let's be pro-vaccine, even though you may, he's, and he said that over and over again, I'm pro-vaccine, which we should all be pro-vaccine, but always consult your doctor first, because you never know what they may say. But we should be pro-vaccine, and we should be pro-science, and too often not, politics gets involved, whether you're on the right or the left, and it takes over, and then you become emotional, or you become a politician. So, and politicians, they're going to use whatever emotion.
I don't think I want to become either of those things. I'm changing stations. Oh, so anyway, thanks for suffering through 10 minutes of that. I shouldn't have started video rolling right away. I should just I didn't think there would be anything that would suck my attention on Gatos and Chad, and I was wrong. So anyway, I just got booted out of the Vinyl Record Dude. Vinyl Record Dude booted me out of the Vinyl Record Dude store, which isn't as bad as it sounds. I don't know. I was just chatting with one of his employees, and I think I was just distracting him from work too much, and that's fine. Like, he pays them big bucks to be working, not chatting with the karaoke guy. So, but everybody there's just so cool, and we're in just so much of the same nerdy stuff. So, and it's probably a good thing he booted us out when he did, because we had just started talking Star Trek. So, yeah, I'm sure I was cutting it as productivity. Oh, sorry, Nick. Anyway, that's fine. I need to get on with my day. I mean, I got more done in my first half hour than I typically, get done in a normal day. So, feeling pretty awesome. And I touched on that. Yeah. So, where did I leave off? So yeah, I was talking to the installers, but of course they didn't know much about the technical end. They were just, they were basically the heft running wires and putting TVs on walls, and doing a fabulous job, I might add. Certainly a lot better of a job than I would have done myself doing that. But after I got on the phone with, and he called his boss, and his boss said to just have me call him. I forget his name. It's on my little cheat sheet where I wrote down names so I can remember names and not sound like a retard when I call. HB. Don't know what that stands for, but I had a great conversation with HB. And I got a feeling I'm going to learn a lot from this man. And he's down to teach me. So, I understand the basics of what he's doing, but I understand the technology, but I've never actually worked with it hands-on. Some of it I've read about, some of it I've looked at pictures of. I've done it in theory in my mind, but I've never actually had hands-on experience with these things. I'm confident if there was a need for me to install something like this, I could, but this is a great opportunity for me to get some hands-on experience. I'm meeting with him Thursday morning. He says that's when he's, cause the next couple of days is just going to be the guys hanging TVs and connecting wires to TVs, and there's I would just simply be in the way, distracting people like I was at Nick's record store. So, best that I not make a pest of myself. And there's other things I could be working on. So, but yeah, I meet HB on Thursday morning, and I can't wait to see what's going in here. It's going to be more than just multiple tuners and switching systems. And we had a great conversation about that. He seems to respect what my knowledge, and I told him kind of basically what I've done in the past to give him an idea of what my skill level was and what I have experience with. And it was really neat to speak to somebody else who's knowledgeable of doing video installations in sports bars, that understands the concept of no one service provider gives you all stations. The most notable thing, and most people go with DirecTV. By far, DirecTV has the most to offer. But there are several very relevant stations, especially if you're wanting to really provide the right programming on your TVs as a sports bar. There are several stations that have exclusivity contracts with Dish Network, and which means that if you need to have a Dish Network tuner and you need to have DirecTV tuners, which creates the the interesting thing of how you do it. And the bars that I've wired up, the ones I've gone full bar wiring up, generally speaking, they all had DirecTV tuners already on all their TVs. and I've added Dish Network, maybe 2 or 3 Dish Network tuners, sometimes even 1 Dish Network tuner, and then I've actively distributed it over an HDMI cabling network with active splitters, and then at some point had a switch that fed into that, and that's when I also ran my karaoke on. That way it was there for them to be able to run those channels. And why are they important? That's where the ASU games come in. That's pretty important for a sports bar in the Phoenix area. Also your U of A games and some other stuff, basically the Pac-12 networks. There's some other college sports networks that are much better covered on and have some exclusivity contracts with Dish Network, which means that they're not on DirecTV. So if a bar only has DirecTV providing their programming, they don't have them. So yeah, and the bars that I've been able to talk into doing it's been great. It's been a win for them because they've got that, and it's been a win for me because I've got this network of high definition cabling running out to multiple TVs that I can run my karaoke through. I plug into the splitter that I installed for them, and I'm good to go. What is going into the new bar I'm working at? Which I am brain farting on the name of it and driving through this piece of street. I don't really want to grab that paper and take my eyes off the road. But it's the Union Jack. I think that's the name, the Union Jack, as in the British flag. It's they're putting in this. The guy I talked to, HB, described it to me, and it's going to be this controlled via IP, via app. Like basically, if you've got that app, anybody can control it. So I'm probably going to end up having that app on my iPhone, and we'll be using that app on my iPhone to do them. I'll probably be switching my video inputs from my iPhone. That just blows my mind. But not only are they going to have Dish Network in there and DirecTV in there so that they have all coverage, but he's setting up an input for me, specifically for me, where I'll be setting up on the edge of the stage, which will go into this giant switching network. So I'll be able to, from this app, just pick which TVs I want to be on, but wait, there's more. He's also adding a high definition camera which faces the stage, which I will have access to to go, dude. I will have access to also put on TVs. So I'm pretty excited about that. Like, that's going to be an element of my show that is just I've sometimes thought about but have just never implemented. But yeah, there's going to be a high definition camera facing the stage. I'm definitely going to have that on one of the patio TVs. That way the people on the patio can actually watch the karaoke singers on the stage. I don't know if I'll go anything farther with it, but I'm just bewildered that that's going to be a thing. I'm really eager to add that to my show. I'm not sure how many TVs are going in there, but a lot of TVs, a lot of very large, very nice new TVs. I'm not sure what resolution all this stuff's going to be at. I mean, my signal is still 720p. I'm sure whatever magic HB is putting in, we'll do some upscaling. At this point, most modern TVs upscale that 720p signal. I did try running my show for a while at 1080p, and while my hardware can do it, it used notably more resources, and I could feel that my machine was working harder to do it. But the biggest issue I had is that I have a kind of a way that I do my desktop, which is really archaic, but it works well for me, in which the width of my control monitor, the resolution width of my control monitor, and these monitors are getting harder to find for me, but the resolution of my control monitor, the width matches the TV signal that I put out. And if I'm getting too techno on you here, just enjoy this lovely drive out of Scottsdale and into 720p, which was the original HD. That is HD. That used to be called. Once upon a time that was called HD, and 1080p was called full HD. The first HD TVs, they only did 720p. For what I'm doing, 720p works great. It's the actual resolution is 720 pixels high by 1280 pixels wide. And the reason that works so nicely with the way I've got my stuff configured, and I've had it configured for the last decade, is that my control monitor, I'm using these older, I want to say 4x3, but they're actually taller than 4x3 monitors. And I always get the monitors with the native resolution of 1280 by 1024. So I've got a taller desktop space that I'm able to work on with my control software, my Windows. But 1280 by 1024, 1280 by 720. Both screens are 1280 width, and that allows me to just simply use my wallpaper to create these backgrounds. And I generally don't give these trade secrets away. This is one of the things when I went through the Sound Choice lawsuit that I absolutely refused to let them get at my machine because I didn't want them to know how I did this. So I'm giving away my secrets. So I've told other people how to do this. I don't know anybody's actually bothered to do it. But by getting images and cropping them to be 12, resizing them and cropping them to be 1280 pixels wide, I'm able to get these backgrounds that center perfectly on the TVs and simultaneously center perfectly on my monitor. Not like it matters what's on the background of my monitor, but I noticed when I went to 1080, suddenly that magic didn't work. When I went to 1080p, suddenly that magic didn't work. And suddenly getting that Winamp video window to resize to where it fits perfectly on the screen in the right aspect ratio, suddenly it didn't. Sometimes it came up in a window, like in a window on the TV, and it looked tacky. That, oh God, I love this song. Death Cab, that's the stuff. Oh yeah, and I personally know Ben Gibbard. Throwing that out there. I really do. I really, really do. It's been a while though since we've talked. Anyway, love singing this song too. Not right now. My voice still isn't fully recovered from the sinus infection, drainage from the sinus infection. Anyway, back to my backgrounds. Yeah, when I went to 1080p, sometimes my video windows just didn't line up right. Karaoke window always lined up just fine. But the CDG karaoke. But my karaoke it's about 50, I don't want to say 50-50. Honestly, I don't know the ratio. I'd say it's probably more like 3366 over what is video karaoke and what is MP3 plus G, or ripped from CDG, or the set of files that would have made CDG if I actually bought them as MP3G files. And I run both simultaneously, just fine. But it's different elements of my software that plays it. And yeah, the MP3G stuff, no problem when I went to 1080p, upscaled wonderfully. But the music video portion of my show, suddenly it was kind of problematic. And I probably could have figured it out. I probably could have got a workaround for it. But I noticed that even when it was working, and even when I was playing 1080p video files, which mind you, most of my video files are 1080p, they're just being downsampled to 720p when I display them. And I've noticed that a downsampled 1080p video looks notably better than a 720p video. Just is what it is. And I think that has to do with probably it's just hiding the artifacting. Just the magic of scaling. It just looks better. But I noticed that even when I was running 1080p videos, it really wasn't a noticeable difference in the video quality versus me taking the scaled, the videos scaled down to 720p and then bringing them back up to 1080p. It just really wasn't a visible difference. I could kind of see the difference, but it was real marginal. And like, if as much of a nerd as I am about how my stuff looks, if I'm not seeing the difference, there's absolutely no way that anybody's coming to my karaoke show is going to know or care. And so after, a couple of weeks of trying to, this guy is on the wrong side of a double yellow line. Hey, and he's not going to go. That double yellow line, that means be on the right-hand side of it, not the left-hand side of it. It's not that difficult to figure out. Anyway, yeah, so I got a feeling I'm probably walking into my first 4K environment. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised. This guy, HB, he really, really knows his shit. And the owners of this bar are wanting to go all out and be completely cutting edge. I mean, I've never cut through a price negotiation process and put out something that I thought was reasonable, but not too high that they're going to not want to hire me, and been told, oh no, that's not enough, and then been told that they're going to pay me more. Like, I think I've had that happen maybe once, but generally speaking, never in negotiating like bar karaoke has that ever happened. So yeah, I'm just bewildered, absolutely bewildered that happened. And so I get the feeling that they're with HB and his AV installation company, I'm sure that's a very lucrative account, and I'm not stealing that account from HB in any shape, way, or form. I get a feeling that HB and I are going to be working kind of hand in hand on what that bar does, and he's definitely more qualified to install it than I am. But yeah, I expect I'm going to learn a lot from HB that I may be able to turn around and use in future installation jobs at other bars. I don't know. I really don't know exactly what he's working in, but we had discussions of how this app thing worked, and like, I've heard of these kind of systems, and I've seen I've read stuff about them, but I've never actually actively worked with it. So I'm eager to be in there with him as he hooks it up and gives me the whole rundown of how all this stuff works. I'm really, really excited about it. The other thing that he mentioned is that like, I've used RF modulation in the past. And we were talking about different types of RF modulators. Like, yeah, HB and I had this the most wonderfully nerdy. It was probably as good for him as it was for me, just because, like, these are things that he probably never has an opportunity to talk to anybody about, because, like, who knows or cares, right? And we were talking about just how RF modulators have changed, and how like 10 years ago the average bar had HD TVs, but they were feeding them through VHF RF modulation over coax, and then stretching that 4x3 signal across a 16:9 flat screen, and thinking that looked good. But it's a hard sell to tell the bar owner that just spent a whole bunch of money on very expensive TVs, and HD TVs were very expensive back then. It's a hard sell to tell them, okay, now you need to upgrade like everything else, because all your video system that you've had in here for years and spent a lot of money on doesn't work. Oh, but it does work. I see it on the TVs. Yeah, okay, you're right. Never mind. Anyway, he was telling me about he's got digital RF digital high definition ASTC hard RF modulators, and I'm not surprised that such a thing exists. I've never looked for it, so I'm going to learn so much on Thursday morning working with HB, and I was going to talk more about that, but yeah, I'm here. I need to go in and get a little bit of busy work done at home. But thanks for coming along for the ride. And sound system. I should put a little note of the sound system. So I did mention, like, there was just a chord and I had no idea, and the guy's calling, I had no idea. It's mono. Yeah, let that sink in.